Good afternoon. My name is Kathleen Helgeson, and I'm the coordinator of the Patient and Family Resource Center. I'm honored to introduce our next guest, Kathy Bird. Kathy is a traditional knowledge keeper and traditional medicines practitioner, and she will be presenting on the topic of traditional Indigenous medicine and its role in cancer prevention and treatment. Welcome, Kathy. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
I'm going to pop off screen and I'll come back on later to help share the questions for you.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Kathy Bird. My traditional name is Mishakianakodok, and I belong to the Turtle Clan. I'm from Peguis First Nation, although originally I'm from Norway House. I'm Cree. Just to let you know a little bit about myself, I've been working in the healthcare field for the last 45 years. And I'm a grandmother, a mother and a grandmother. And I've been doing this working with traditional medicine for many years. In starting, I just want to acknowledge my teachers, which is very important that I feel that I need to do that. My main teacher was Blackfoot from the Blood Reserve in Alberta. His name was Pinakwem. And he asked me to, if I would be interested in learning about traditional medicines, which I thought was really fantastic because I was a nurse. I was a nurse at the time, and to be able to find the balance as an Indigenous woman and a nurse and working in one of our own communities, to be able to share that knowledge and have it available for our people. I'm here today to talk a little bit about my experience in working with cancer and with the people that I have been working with. I have been working as a practitioner of traditional medicine for about 23 years now. And previous to that was my learning from the knowledge keepers. And it continues to happen to this day that I'm still learning about traditional medicines. My main focus in working with medicines is working with the herbs, working with the plants, plant medicines, and having those medicines available for our people or anybody else who wants to seek that type of healing. I need to explain a little bit so that you understand how we see our medicine and how it works. Our people have depended on Mother Earth for thousands and thousands of years to sustain us, to give us life through the trees, the plants, the animals, the air that we breathe, the water that we drink. And it goes far beyond that to where we have our own creation stories and how we understand how we came to being here. Very, very strong spiritual teachings that guide us on our lives here on Mother Earth. And really, really beautiful, a really, really beautiful creation story and a way of life that our people followed for thousands and thousands of years. And when it comes to traditional medicine and traditional practices, traditional healing, ceremony, songs, dance, it's all based on Creator. Everything that we do, it goes back to the foundation, which is Creator. And when it comes to healing through medicine, my teacher, one of the very first things that he taught me was that we need to acknowledge Creator first in everything that we do, and we need to give thanks. When we go out to harvest our medicines that we're going to be using for whatever reason, we always give first. We give back to Creator. We give back to the spirit of the medicine. In our teachings, Creator blew his sacred breath into everything that's on Mother Earth. And even us as human beings, Creator blew his sacred breath into each and every one of us. And so when I'm seeing people that come looking for medicine, I always ensure that I share those teachings with them so they fully understand how our medicine works and how we understand our medicine. And it can apply to any illness, cancer as well. And one of the very first teachings that he gave me was the teachings of tobacco. Uh, the women here, they offered me tobacco to share with you, and to share some of this knowledge with you and some of these teachings. And this tobacco that I hold, we have our own traditional tobacco that we harvest from the land, kinnikinnick, colesfoot, hyssop leaves, and we make a mixture. Those very same medicines that we use as in our tobacco, our natural tobacco, are also used in lung medicines, cancer medicines, medicines for the digestive system, medicines for diabetes, medicines to clean out your liver. Um, so they're not nicotine based. Some of our people grow their own natural tobacco. We harvest our tobacco off the land, and that could be things like red willow, bearberry, mint leaves, and we make our own mixtures. And it's protocol and in our sacred teachings that that sacred tobacco comes first. It's in our creation story. And sometimes it takes a long time to share those stories and those teachings of our creation story. It can actually take days. And there's also songs and ceremony that go along with all of those teachings. And so, protocol, my teacher told me, was to always, always have that tobacco, always carry it with you because you never know when you're going to need it. And so I acknowledge the tobacco that the women here gave me, and I say thank you for that. Um, and the other teaching that's very important, as I was learning from my teacher, they tend to call our people that work with medicines um, traditional healers. And he said to me one day, he said, "You know what?" He said, "You're never going to heal anybody." And he said, "I don't heal people. People call me a traditional healer." He said, "But that's not how it works." And he said, I'll show you how it works. He said, how we understand and how you need to understand that healing happens with our people. And as I said before, our foundation is creator. And so he said, the foundation in traditional healing is the creator. And that is who we go to ask for help for. Creator, I'm sick, I need help. This is what's wrong with me. I have cancer of the liver. I have cancer of the lungs. I need help. And she said, that's the very first thing he said is when we work with medicines is to acknowledge that and to talk to Creator about that. And so he said, that's a and he drew a circle like a pie. And then he marked off 65% of that circle and he wrote there, Creator. My teacher had a grade 5 education, but the knowledge that he walked with, that he carried, it astounded me. And then he said, the next most important part of healing is the person who's asking for help. And when you come and you say, I need help, I'm sick, I have cancer. And that was the next big part of that circle he marked off. He said, he wrote there, person who was asking for help. And so creator, biggest part, person who was asking for help. He said, and talking about traditional medicine, he came there and they come there and they say, do you think that'll help me? He said, we can have no doubt in what we do. He said, never ever doubt your medicine, he told me. He said, and our people sometimes have a hard time with that because of the things that we've been through in believing that we had medicines to help with all these illnesses. So he said, very, very important is the person who's asking for help. Are they going to do what it is that they need to do to get well? So that was the next biggest portion. The next biggest portion he had was um, what they need to do to get well. What they need to do to get well. So he said, when somebody comes to you and asks you, and they tell you everything that's wrong with them, you accept their tobacco, their offering, and you talk the Creator on their behalf of what it is they're asking for. They may need to see, they may need to drink a tonic to help them with whatever the illness is, the medicine that they need to drink. It might be a spiritual problem, it might be an emotional problem. They may need to go in a sweat lodge. They may need to go fasting. They may need to see a therapist. They may need to see a medical doctor. All the things that they need to do to get well, they may need to be taking Western medicine to help them with whatever is wrong with them. So he goes through all of those things. Creator, the person, what they need to go to, what they need to do to get well. By the time he's finished explaining all of that, there's just a little wee sliver left in that circle. And then he said, this is you and this is me. He said, our responsibility is to learn those medicines. Our responsibility is to learn how to use those medicines, to understand the teachings, what it means, what this medicine means, tobacco, protocol, and how to speak the Creator on behalf of that person. He said, we don't heal people. We need all of this in order for healing to happen. And then he also explained that when we work with people, we're not only working with the physical, we're also working with the emotional and the spiritual. And so all of that combined is what helps that person to get well. And he said, what we do when we're doing this work is we're putting all of our faith into Creator. We're asking for compassion for that person, for whatever it is they're asking for. He said, we don't know. In our teachings, our spirit comes from Creator. We walk upon Mother Earth for a certain length of time. The doorway opens. We're finished our walk on Mother Earth, and then we go back into the spirit world. In our teachings, our spirit goes back to Creator. And so in our teachings, we don't know when that doorway is going to be opened for us. Only Creator knows that. But what we can do is ask for compassion for that person. What they're asking for healing. And all we can do is ask on their behalf. And so that's what, as I learned from him over the years, he told me, never, ever doubt your medicine. Never, ever lose faith in what it is. It is not you that has control of any of that. Creator has control of that. And also the person, are they going to do what they're supposed to be doing, or are they not? There's certain things that we have to do to get well. And even drinking more water will help. Following a healthy diet, more exercise, giving up smoking, giving up things that are affecting our lifestyle, even into relationships, into spirituality. Then all those things combined is what helps a person to heal. And so I had to learn for 4 years just listening. And he never allowed me to harvest anything in those first 4 years that I was learning from him. And it was listening, watching, smelling, tasting, helping him to, as he was seeing people, gaining all that experience for the first 4 years, learning medicines. He would give me maybe 8 medicines that I had to go out and find and learn, and he wouldn't show me. He said, this is strawberry, this is how you use it. This is clover. This is how you use it. And all those other medicines that is. And then he would say, okay, this is how it looks. This is how it smells. This is how it, and he had them in little bundles like this. You open them up so you could barely see what it was, or, and then he said, okay, go out there and find it. And so I had to go out in the bush and find all those plants that he was sharing with us. And I tell you, I took botany in university, but nothing could compare to the way that he taught me how to go out there and sit on Mother Earth and learn those medicines, and how I started to notice all the different families and the growth cycle. And when it was best to harvest them, and all that knowledge that goes into learning about medicines and how they work, and that they have a spirit. And so those were all the things that he shared with me, and he taught me how to identify those plants. And I never knew till I went and sat out there that there are plants that grow with square stems, and observing. He wanted me to use my five senses: taste, smell, touch, um, you know, all the and listen, 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 listen. I had to listen. So for 4 years, I did that. And I started to know those plants. After 4 years, he said to me, okay, now you're ready. You're ready to start harvesting them. So for the next 3 years, I would harvest those medicines. I still couldn't use them, but I would give them to him, and then he would use them in it when he was working with people or doctoring people. And I continuing, always, always teaching. After 7 years, he said, okay, you're ready to start seeing people. You're ready to start working with people, start seeing people. And he started referring people to me to see. You know what was the first thing that came into my mind when he did that? The first thought I had was, and I remember it very clearly, what if it doesn't work? Doubt, yeah, doubt. And and then I started to remember all the things that he taught me. And I started to remember that it wasn't up to me, and I wasn't going to be healing anybody. I started to think. I guess it's something we all go through. Is when we start something new, is sometimes we worry about whether it's going to work or not. And after doing this work all this time now, I have no hesitation in doing what I can do, what he's taught me, and what I share with people to help them to be able to find the healing that they're looking for. And so, all of this was over many years that I was learning with him. And then I had other healers too, that were, or knowledge keepers, that were also sharing other medicines with me. And so I always think that I was so very lucky to be able to have the opportunity to do that, and to work with knowledge keepers, and to be a nurse at the same time, because then I could find that balance between Western and traditional medicine, and encourage our people to do whatever they needed to do to get well, whether it's traditional medicine or whether it's Western medicine. So in that time, um, they were working clinics. The knowledge keepers that was working with and learning from, they were doing clinics for our people, those people who wanted to seek out traditional medicine. And as they stopped doing the work, then I started to take over what it is that they were doing. I think that it's important for people to understand that traditional healing, traditional ceremony, traditional medicine, we also have our specialties. I work with the plants. Other people might work with um, sweat lodge ceremonies as ways of healing, fasting, fasting ceremonies, Midewan ceremonies, shake tent ceremonies. There's eagle bone work. So there's many specialties, and some of us combine some of those. Like I can work with sweat lodge ceremonies too, and fasting. Um, but I know my limits, and I can do what I can with the knowledge that I have picked up. And that's what I always maintain, is that I will do what I can with what I have. And if I can't do it, I have people I can refer to. And, when getting back to cancer, um, cancer is, in all the times that I worked in public health, community health, and traditional health, the numbers of cancers in our communities have really increased. And the other thing is that we're starting to see a lot of aggressive cancers. And our knowledge keepers have always said that um, the change in the environment, the change in the foods that we're eating, the change in the diet, the land, the air that we breathe, the waters. There's been so many changes in those things, and even in the clothes that we wear, and the carcinogens that are out there are they're prolific, and so we're exposed to all those things, and so we're seeing a lot more cancers. And how much time have I spoken? Okay, so I've worked with a number of people that people have come in looking for cancer medicines. And as I said before, when I'm just going to walk you through a scenario when somebody comes to see me and they're asking for medicine for cancers or a cancer. And it's important that people come with their offering for tobacco. Tobacco and an offering. An offering we call that, say this, can be an offering. And the traditional teaching behind that is that um, the old people, when they shared that teaching with us, they said that offering that you bring is for Creator. The offering that you bring is for the spirits that work with Creator. The tobacco is what we use to speak on your behalf with Creator. So if somebody comes and they bring their tobacco and they bring their offering, I get them to hold their tobacco as they're speaking, because that is what in our teachings connects them to Creator. And there's a story, there's a teaching as to how that was gifted to us from Creator. It's a beautiful story. And in that, just to make it very short, that was what Creator gave us, to have direct communication with Him. It was never meant to be abused in terms of cigarettes or smoking. Our people used this medicine to talk to Creator through their sacred pipes. And when we use our pipes, it's not meant to be inhaling that. It's meant to be sending those prayers out in that medicine of tobacco, sending it out to the universe, sending it out to Creator. It was never meant to be inhaled. And so when somebody comes and they offer their tobacco, I get them to hold it and to talk about why they're there and what it is that they're asking for. That Creator is going to hear every word and thought that they have as they're talking about what they need help for. And so when they're done with that, and as they're talking, because of the knowledge that I have learned about the medicines, those medicines will start identifying themselves as to what I have to put into their tonic. And anything else that that person might need to hear, I have opened myself up for Creator and Spirit to use my voice. So those teachings will come automatically, what Creator wants them to hear, what Creator wants them to understand, or that they need to do. And I always explain to people why and what I do and why I do it. I'm putting all that into the hands of Creator, and I'm asking for guidance for me to know what to do to help that person. And so when they're done speaking, by then I know what medicines I have to put in their tonics, or else other information has come as to what they need to do besides drinking the medicine. And before I give them the medicines, I have helpers, and my students and my helpers that work with me, they will mix up the tonics, and they know how to do that. And then meanwhile, what I do is one of the ceremonies that the old man gave me that I needed to do before I give out medicines is I have to cleanse them. And using eagle fan, this is a cute little feather here that they have in their bundle, their medicine bundle. But I have an eagle fan, and he gave me a ceremony to help to remove, call on grandmothers and grandfathers and all the spirits that work with Creator and Mother Earth spirits and spirits from above to come and to remove negative energy of that person's body, mind, and spirit, to open them up for the medicine to do the work that they're asking of that medicine, which is whatever it is that they spoke about as they were holding their tobacco. And then I smudge them. I cleanse them with that eagle fan, and I hold a bit of sage in the on that eagle fan. All the negative energy that comes out of there will go into that little ball of sage that I use. And sage is one of our natural medicines. I don't know if you can see it, but that removes negative energy. So I make a little ball of sage, and I put it on that eagle fan. And as I'm brushing them, I'm asking Creator, grandmothers, grandfathers, come and remove all the negative energy off their body, their mind, and their spirit, so that this medicine can do the work that they're asking of it. And I do them their back, their front. And it's amazing to feel sometimes the energies that are coming off that person. And that helps them to open them up for the medicine to do the work that they're asking. Sometimes in some of the different illnesses that they might have, sometimes that's all it takes to get balance back into their body, and then it helps them to emotionally, and it helps them spiritually. And so that's what I do before I give them the medicine, and I explain everything to them as I'm doing it. And then once the medicine comes and I'm done cleansing with them, and then again I hold their tobacco, and again I ask, and their offering, and again I ask Creator to have compassion for them. My responsibility is to ask for compassion for that person, that the spirit of the medicine will do the work that they're asking of it. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know Creator's plan for that person. All I can do is ask for compassion. And in my experience in working with medicine, I've had people come um, to second stage cancer, third stage cancer, fourth stage cancer. And a lot of people get really, really frightened when they hear that it's fourth stage cancer. But I've seen people come back from fourth stage cancer. And when they come asking for medicine, Creator has compassion for them. I've also seen where Creator opens that doorway. And I've seen where physical healing might not have happened, but I've seen where spiritual healing has happened with them, or emotional healing. And they, to me, when they go through that type of healing, when their spirit leaves here, I can picture it dancing. Their spirit is dancing back to Creator. They're I want to share this one story with you, and it'll be the last thing that I do, is share the experience of this one man who went through that type of healing. And so that's what I do. I never ever discourage people who come to see me to stop using Western medicine, or to stop anything that a doctor has prescribed to them. And one part of our prayer is, um, we talk to the medicines. I guess you probably picked that up by now. We talk to the medicines, and we ask the spirit of the medicine to help that person. Um, so, what was I going to say there? Um, when we do that, um, and we ask the spirit of the medicine to go and do the work that you're asking with, then that's what we're asking for. And I lost my train of thought. I don't like writing notes because then it distracts me. But that is how we work with the medicines. And I lost the message I was going to give you on that one, but that's okay. Maybe it'll come back again. Um, this when I give out the medicine, then I give out the directions how to make the medicines, how to drink the medicine, when to drink it, and I hope that that person will carry that on. And it's it begins that whole prayer begins when that harvester goes out there and sits on Mother Earth to gather the medicines that we use to fight cancer. That we have our tobacco and we talk to the spirit of the medicine, that we need to take it from Mother Earth. We need you. Your grandchildren are going to be coming looking for help. And so we have to have the medicine ready. So we're giving you this offering, asking to be able to harvest. And only after we acknowledge and we pray and we talk to Creator and we talk to the spirits of the medicine and we put our tobacco down, do we begin to harvest. And even as we're harvesting, we're thinking of the people that are going to come asking for help. Even as we're processing those medicines, we're thinking of the people who are coming, that are going to be coming to ask for help. And so when we give out the medicine to people, after they've offered their tobacco and their offering, and we give the medicine out to people, we ask them as they're boiling their medicine, as they're drinking their medicine, continue that prayer, continue that prayer. Ask the spirit of the medicine to help you. Ask Creator to have compassion for you. So it's a continuous prayer, right from before we harvest the medicines, and as we process them, and as we work with them. So that's the procedure that we follow, and we ask our clients to continue that prayer. If even all you can say as you drink your medicine, I need help, I need healing, I want my body to heal, flush the sickness out of my body. And so we ask our clients for commitment, but again, it's up to them. We don't have control once they go out the door. We can only encourage them. And I try my best to encourage them to follow up with us, and to make sure they follow up with their medical practitioner. Oh, I know what the other thing I was going to mention. I came back. When we're praying with the medicine before we give it to the client, before we send the medicine to the client, one of the things that we put into that prayer is that the medicines that we give them will not, that they will work together with whatever other medicines they're using, whether it's chemo, whether it's radiation, that they won't clash and that they won't work against each other. And but rather that they will, whatever that person needs to do to get well, whether they're using acupuncture or massage, or maybe they're taking Chinese medicine or other medicine, that all those medicines will work together to help that person to heal. That their spirit in all those medicines. So that's another thing we encourage people. And I never ever, if I do have a concern as a nurse, that when I see what medications they're on, that maybe they do need a medication review, and I encourage them to do that. Try and find out if you need to be on all these medicines, and see your doctor and do a good medication review. And because I trained as a nurse, I can also encourage them, you know, to see a dietitian. Those things are so important. Other ways of learning to look after yourself, to be able to have a good life. So, I'm giving you a scratch of what the knowledge is that we work with, and the ceremony that we work with. And I think that's the main message I would want to leave with you, is that our foundation is Creator. And we put everything into the hands of the Creator. Before we start our work at any of the wellness clinics that we do, we lift the pipe and we offer our tobacco to ask the spirits to be there with us if we're going to be there for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. I lifted my pipe 3 days ago when I came to do the clinic at the Health Science Center, and I included this day. I asked Creator and spirits that work with Creator to have compassion for us as we talk about this, and as we share this with people, that Spirit will be there to guide us with good words. So that's a little bit that I can share in a few minutes that we had here together. And I really want to, encourage families. I have had to live through cancer in our families too, and I've seen some of my relatives heal. I've seen some of my relatives go into the spirit world, and it's with the cancers. So I know what it's like. I've experienced it, and but I've also experienced healing. I've experienced, I call them miracles. Some of the things that I've seen in working with traditional medicine. So that much I believe I can share with you today. And if you have any questions, I would be more than happy to share with you. I've shared a little bit of what it took me many years to learn. you know, Miigwech, and thank you for your patience and listening to me. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to share. I don't know, can't hear her. Okay.
Kathleen, you're muted.
Sorry, just having trouble with the mouse on this. Thank you so much, Kathy. That was such a lovely presentation, and your comments, your words, that we can have no doubt in what we do, is really resonating with me. The burning question that we have here is, people want to know, how can they connect with you, or how can they connect with other traditional teachers? And is this something that's available only if you live in Winnipeg, or if you're living up north? Is there a way to connect with somebody that's a traditional Indigenous medicine practitioner?
Yes, there. I've been coming to Health Science Center now for at least 25 years. Um, Indigenous Services through Winnipeg Regional Health Authority have set up a 2-day clinic that we come to do here in the city, and they can be contacted through Winnipeg Regional Health Authority Indigenous Services, and they have a phone number there that I can leave with the girls here if anybody's interested. And they set up the appointments. And the main thing is when you come that you need to bring your tobacco and you need to bring your offering. Your offering is whatever you want to give for what it is you're asking for. And then also SCO, Southern Chiefs Organization, have a traditional healing program that helps people to connect with different healers. So does um, MKO, Manitoba Kiwetno Ogimaganak. They also have a traditional healing program, and you can Google those, and they have all that information there. They have lists of traditional knowledge keepers that work with medicine, and so if you wanted to access that through them, then that's available too. And more and more of our people are beginning to pick up this work. There's still some that are not very, they're still very quiet about it, and but they are out there, many different ways of healing.
Mm. Do you find that a lot of people mix traditional medicines with their Western medicines? Is that something that you're seeing more of in your work? People combining, integrating the traditional medicines?
Yes, there are quite a few people that do that, and we're trying to educate more and more doctors, and a lot of doctors are open to it, and in using both. And I find anyway that more and more people are choosing to do that. And like even with chemotherapy, like how hard that is on the body. So we tell our clients how to use the medicine, so that, because there's a lot of nausea and vomiting involved. And it's, if they can just keep sipping on it a little bit at a time. It's, yes, there's more and more people who are doing that.
And it is important that people share that information if they are wanting to integrate complementary therapies with their treatment team, if they are combining it as well. So, um, somebody asked a question about cedar tea and helping with inflammation. Is that something that you're familiar with?
Um, I know we use cedar tea, a mild form of it, um, to help with um, colds or flus. We also use it for foot soaks to draw. It's a good. We call them pullers. They pull out toxins through foot soaks, through poultices, and we use it in cedar baths for both removing negative energy or else looking after our departed. And yeah, and then also in mild teas to boost the immune system.
Mhm. I have a question of my own before you go, Kathy, and I was just curious about the importance of language and the fact that language extinction would also jeopardize knowledge of traditional medicines because a lot of these teachings that you've learned have been oral teachings, and just wondering what your comment is or thoughts are around that in terms of the importance of language preservation as a way of maintaining knowledge of plant use and traditional medicine use.
Yes, I think it's very important that we tried as hard as we can to keep the languages alive. Like my teacher was Blackfoot, and he spoke fluent Blackfoot, and I've been fortunate enough to maintain my Cree language and understanding the Anishinaabe language. And I'm so glad now that more and more people are wanting to relearn the languages. And like residential school had such a negative impact. Even though I was fluent, like I didn't teach my kids, you know? And probably one of my biggest regrets um, is that a lot of us that went through residential school, we didn't do that, even though we had the language. And but it's very important, because when I sit and listen to the teachings in the language, it's much different than when you listen to it in English. The
Mhm.
spirit is in the language. The spirit is really, really in the language. And that's what so important that we revive them, you know?
Mhm.
It's, but at the same time, so many of these things are not our fault.
Mhm.
And I have one student who doesn't have the language. She's learning the words, but when she's already cleansing people, mixing the medicines, and I told her it's okay, do it the best way you know how. They will still hear you, and you can still hear, and you can see the results of the work that she does when she cleanses people. You know, you can tell that the negative energy is coming off, and the people are feeling so good after they get smudged
Mhm.
or cleansed. So we do the best we can with what we have, but at the same time, we want to preserve these things. Even for us, as we're doing all this, our prayer is always that this is there for our grandchildren and our great grandchildren, that we
Mhm.
never lose sight of them.
Just a quick question before we wrap up, because there's another question from Michelle about how do you find out about ceremonies in order to participate in ceremonies like Sweat Lodge, ceremonies that you mentioned? Is there a way, a process of being able to also find tobacco and is it, can you just buy regular tobacco to make an offering, or is there certain traditional tobaccos that you purchase for this offering?
There's some certain traditional tobaccos like this one that you can purchase. There's also the ones that in a octagon box, and then we have our own traditional tobacco that we make back home. But the other tobaccos are going to work too, like Player's
Hmm.
Light or whatever, those tobaccos.
Yeah.
Because before we started using our traditional tobacco again, that's what we were using.
Hmm.
And the spirit was still in there. The spirit is still in there. I've felt it personally when I used store bought tobacco, um, Players, whatever, that I could still feel that it would throb in my hand. So I knew the spirit was still in there in spite of all the things they've added to it. So whatever you have available, it's so expensive now. I tell people, if you buy a package of tobacco, break it down into like smaller bundles, and it can last you a long time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kathy. So if somebody has specific questions about, again, getting in touch with either yourself or another traditional teacher, can they email you, or can they email me at the Patient Family Resource Center and I can get in touch with you to help make that referral?
Yes, and if they wanted to come to the wellness clinic at Health Science Center here that we have 10 clinics a year. Um, Indigenous services through Winnipeg Regional Health Authority, and
Do you have to be Indigenous to attend that?
no, no, no. I have some clients, as a matter of fact, that are not, spreading by word of mouth.
Hmm.
That share with friends, and so I have non-Indigenous clients that are coming for cancer medicines for a while now. So that's the other thing my teacher said. You don't refuse anybody. As long as they come and they're asking for that help and they have their tobacco, they have their offerings, and you do whatever you can to help them.
Thank you so much, Kathy. Thank you very much for being here and sharing your knowledge with us today.
Thank you very much.
I know.
Miigwech.
Miigwech.